Hello and welcome to the morning after show. My name is Joshua Reimer. I'm joined by none other than Jared Block, who is on my right. Econic starting out the stream with a sub. We greatly appreciate it, man. CLPE says sup. D-Ramfi said sup. Bacon starting out the stream with the sub. Hey, we're starting out right, Jared. You love to see it. Jared, how are you doing on this fine Tuesday morning?
Doing well, man. Interesting game last night. Interesting day of sports yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's been this week is kind of, I don't want to say it's going to fly under the radar, but it's going to go really fast because basically what I'm doing all week is just preparing for next week. That's pretty much
Yeah.
what it is. So it's definitely going to be like, I don't know, the fact that it's already Tuesday just kind of feels like it's been a whirlwind because I don't know, from Friday to Tuesday, it basically feels like one solid day for me,
Yeah,
always. Yeah.
yeah. I imagine this is like when things really pick up for you. This is when things really slow down for me. This is like my Friday. Tomorrow's my Saturday. Thursday's my Sunday, and then we're back to work on Friday. But it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be a good day of sports. Next week is definitely gonna be very interesting all throughout, especially because I'm going to be out of town, still providing content, still going to be on the morning shows and stuff, but going to be out of town in a new setup, and we all know how that sometimes affects us a little bit, but it's all right. A lot of activity in the chat, you'll love to see it. A lot of people talking about an insane 49ers W, and I personally love to see that. I was ecstatic last night. I don't know if you well, I mean, you saw my message in the good skill chat room as the game was ending, talking about how the Rams suck and the 49ers won, and I was very happy about that. But let's talk about it. We can just get right into it because we're gonna recap Monday Night Football first thing off the bat. What did you think about last night's game?
Yeah, I kind of felt like the initial bet online spread was too low, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's the first thing that we talked about yesterday. And I don't know. Once again, that it strikes as you got to kind of like, I don't know. That number looked a little bit too good to be true. And I still thought that they'd be able to push. But the Rams offense just continued to shoot themselves in the foot. Niners played very, very well to their scheme. Then they did. So they did two things. First, they did not go away from their game plan of running the football. And second, they took risks where I feel like like every now and then Shanahan overthinks things and makes dumb decisions, just like Sean McVay did. Except last night McVay looked really stupid and Shanahan looked really great. So
Yeah.
if that Debo Samuel completion for the touchdown on fourth down, which was an amazing call by the way, I would have done the same thing. But if that doesn't turn out, I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's a big gamble, but they were just manhandling all night, and they knew that matchup would work. So it's kind of what both coaches kind of do the same thing in that regard. They try to stick to their game plan as much as possible and take risks where you would least expect it. And one of them worked really well, and one of them didn't.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just think that I said it on Twitter. This looks like 2019 49ers all over again. A 49ers team that does not want to throw the ball, does not try to throw the ball, lets Jimmy G kind of be a game manager, but Jimmy G performs and he ends up hitting his spot when he needs to, right? Like when they need him to hit that pass to get the first down. I saw something on third down. He was like 6 for 8 with like 80 plus yards and a touchdown. Like he was. I talked about it yesterday. If we are a completely different team when Jimmy G is mistake free. And I'm not even talking about like just not having any interceptions. I'm just talking about not having any dumb interceptions. And there was a couple throws where I was like, that's a close one, man. But he definitely ended up getting the job done. And that defense looked mighty, man. Jimmy Ward is such a big piece for us, being such a great safety. And you saw it last night. He had 2 interceptions over his 85 game career, and he had another 2 interceptions last night, which I think he just shows up when you need him to, and everything kind of went perfectly for our team. So very happy about it. I'm definitely not going to count the Rams out though. Like this shouldn't be a spot where you should be counting the Rams out and just saying like, oh, the Rams have now lost to the Titans and the 49ers. Not a good football team anymore. Not going to make the Super Bowl. I don't think that's the case. I think this team desperately needed the bye week that way. So you can catch OBJ up to speed. You can give him in more packages, make him learn the playbook a little bit more, and I think they'll be just fine at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that they'll be all right. The thing for me is they weren't ready to have OBJ in the fold, and you saw that clearly. Obviously, outside of the first couple of possessions, he really didn't show up that much until the end of the game when it didn't matter anymore. The main thing for me is that this team, as you know, it has not showed up in the statistics all year outside of 1 week, but Robert Woods means the world to this team. It
Yeah.
means that Cooper Kupp gets open, means that the running game's able to work. He's their best blocking wide receiver. He does a lot of stuff pre-motion. I fun fact, and if you guys didn't watch the Manning cast last night, you guys missed possibly the best broadcast of the entire season. It was amazing. Anyway, they were just talking about how often each team, both 49ers and Rams, use pre-snap motion, and it basically was like every play. I mean, the Niners definitely do it every single play, probably 95% of the time. Uh, really helps out, and Robert Woods is a key piece of that. And then with playing two wide receivers alongside Cup that don't really play every single down. Definitely hurts the offense. I will say that Van Jefferson did look really good, and he dropped a touchdown. Higbee dropped the ball. Cooper Kupp dropped like three balls. It was just
Yeah.
rough all the way around. So the Rams will be all right. But yeah, this just goes to show that any team can win any other week, and the NFC West, no matchup is easy.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I mean, this is no matchup is easy in the NFC West, and I know we kept saying it at the beginning of the year, like this division is the toughest division in all of football. I feel like no one believed us, or well, it wasn't very believable once the season kicked off. Right? You had two teams that were pretty close to the bottom. You had two really good teams in the Cardinals and the Rams, but like I feel like this game shows everyone that like, hey, this 49ers team is still sticking around. They're still here to play, and it's going to be really important for them to I wouldn't say win out, but come close to winning out probably would be ideal, especially once you look at the standings and see that in the NFC, hold on, let's see. NFC, they are tied with the Vikings for the 8th seed right now, which I mean, no
Yep.
playoff spot there. But Panthers are in that next spot up, then the Saints, then the Rams. So you're gonna need to keep winning. I mean, you're right there. You're at the playoff hunt for sure right now. Things are not done just because you have a losing record, and that's kind of one thing I wanted to go through now. Just see what this 49ers upcoming schedule looked like, and then what does the upcoming schedule look like for the Rams? Even though I know they have the bye week this upcoming week.
Yep. Rams have a tough 2, 3 games after their bye.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, because they have the Packers. I know that. But who do they
Yep.
have
There's
after?
I don't know which week it is, but there's a matchup in mid-December between them and the Cardinals in LA.
Mm, yes. There is a matchup between them and the Cardinals. Actually, this says it's in Arizona, and that's
Oh
on
yeah, you're
December
right. No, they
13th.
came in and they beat them at home. That's right.
Yeah. So the Packers game comes after the bye, right? That's going to be in 2 weeks. Then you have the Jags, which should be an easy win. Then you have the Cards, then you have the Seahawks. I mean, like, don't count out the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks have the same exact case that the 49ers have, where you can't count out that team. You can't count out any team in the NFC West. Then you have the Vikings, then you have the Ravens, then you have the Niners again. Niners are at least at home this time, so maybe that'll help them out a little bit. But like the only easy game on this schedule is the Jaguars.
Right. And I mean, they've upset some teams before.
Even the
So,
Jaguars have beat the
yeah.
Bills, so like if they can beat the Bills, they might be able to beat this team. Especially if that offense looks that anemic, man. Like Stafford looked off last night. I will say that, and it's probably just
Yep.
getting used to a new weapon, getting used to technically two new weapons because you have to get used to the Skowronek kid as well. Like he's going to be on the field a lot, like you said perfectly in your article. He's going to be that new blocking wide receiver to try to replace Robert Woods. And getting used to him and getting used to OBJ is just it's going to take time for sure.
Yeah, so the main thing for me for the Rams is that I'm still like I'm not saying that they're going to start tailing off here, but it's certainly now back-to-back weeks where they didn't do the game plan that they wanted to do initially out the gate, and Stafford made some mistakes early, and they couldn't get the run game going, and just I don't know. If teams shut down Cooper Cup, makes things a lot easier. And I know that Cooper Cup still got there in garbage time for fantasy, so I mean that is what it is. But uh, this offense, I still think Robert Woods is extremely underrated, and eventually McVay's going to realize that OBJ is not as good of a blocking wide receiver than, um, like, I don't even think anybody really thinks that, but he's not. So there's only so much they can do there, and they're going to have to figure out some ways to scheme things open, which he can do, and I think they'll figure it out, but it's going to take some time for them to get used to that. But yeah, if they don't run the ball and they make mistakes early, it's kind of similar to the Ravens, and they Ravens have proved that they can come back down a couple scores in the passing game. The Rams, though, I don't know, 2 weeks in a row where they started off really, really slow in the first quarter, made some mistakes, and were down double digits, and they couldn't make things happen. So that was very interesting. I don't understand. Like it didn't matter anyway, but you basically took the entire you took all the wind out of your sails by going for the I don't know. The fake field goal is stupid. I understand that
Yeah.
Hecker makes these plays like all the time, right? He does it a couple times a year where he'll fool everybody and he'll make things happen. And last night was not a good idea to do that. They have a great kicker, and I think that making that down to 2 scores gives it changes the playbook and it changes the way the team feels, and it kind of fuels the defense a little bit. I don't know. It was weird. It was just a
No, I
strange
agree.
call last night.
I
He's trying
agree.
to do too much with a little.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like he was trying to force it at that point. And I mean, I'm sure he realized this, but like what a lot of people didn't realize is like it was really make or break time there. Like you needed to get
Yeah,
a score in before halftime, and just didn't work out. So like I don't know. I want to talk about this 49ers schedules too because they also get to play the Jaguars. But then they get to go or they're at home to play the Vikings, then they play the Seahawks, then they play the Bengals, then they play the Falcons and the Titans, then the Texans, and then the Rams. You have two easy matchups at least, but every other matchup is really difficult, man. I mean, Falcons, I think, is a tough matchup. Titans is definitely a tough matchup. I'm going to be there for that game. That's going to be a ton of fun. Then you have the Bengals, which is like, I know they're 5-4 right now, but they're still one of those top teams in the AFC, and Jamar Chase should have his way with our defense. Like, it's a really tough time for this 49ers team as well as they end out their year.
yeah, yeah. It's
And they
far
probably
from
need to
over right now.
win. They probably need to win like I don't know, 5 out of these. How many games is it? 3, it's 8 games. They probably need to win like 6 out of 8 to make playoffs at the end of the day. They at least need to win the matchup with. Oh no, they don't play the Vikings. It was the other team that played the Vikings. They probably need to win every interdivisional matchup that they can. And that's all I'll say.
Yeah, yeah. So as the season plays out, we are going to have to sort of retrain our minds to get into a playoff contention mode where normally if you're sitting in the 8 to 12 win range towards the last chunk of the season, last 3-4 weeks of the year, you're probably feeling pretty good. Now this is going to change and the numbers are going to skew because you add that one more week in there. I'm very interested to see like how like is the team going to finish like the Packers like 16 like 15-2, because that would be like we just don't see those numbers anymore. So I don't know. It's going to be a really interesting thing to see at what point are we talking about teams that are going to make the playoffs with like, because I don't think 8 wins cuts it anymore. You technically have a losing record at that point. So I think that 10 wins is like the minimum.
Really, 10 wins. That's good. That's insane. Like
Because
that's actually
you'd be 10-7, right?
yes, yes, you would be 10-7.
And that is that enough? I don't know.
I would think so for like a wild card spot, but I mean like adding the extra spots should allow those type of teams to get in. But who knows? We're gonna have to see. It's gonna be really interesting coming up throughout the rest of the season. All right. Anything else that we do need to talk about a few other things football wise. But I know you have a video that you wanted me to show of with George Kittle blocking Von Miller because I enjoyed it and I think it'll be a good time. So here we're going over here and we don't have the window capture up yet, but we will in just a moment. Here we go. All right. Let's play this thing. Let's watch this happen. Oh. Oh. Oh, and a pancake too. You love to see it. I mean, that's why George Kittle gets paid those big bucks, right? Like at the end of the day, he's one of the best. You know, you can say that Kelsey's the best tight end, but Kittle's one of the best blocking tight ends in all of football.
Yeah, he definitely changes things for that run scheme. By the way, they completely took out Eli Mitchell until that game was out of hand. I don't know if you noticed that, but it was Jeff Wilson the entire like chunk, second quarter, third quarter, most of the fourth quarter.
Was it really second quarter? Like I thought they
Yeah,
still had
they
him in. How
well,
many
I mean,
rushing attempts
so
did he end up getting?
it was split between Debo and Jeff
Yeah.
Wilson. I feel like maybe it's just like maybe the carries aren't going to add up, and more so just the fact that I saw him on the field a lot. So that's kind of where I thought that was going to go. Just kind of surprised that Mitchell didn't get like. Okay, here's the thing. This isn't going to make any sense at all because frankly, I didn't even realize how many carries that Eli got,
Uh-huh.
but that had a lot to do with the. I would like to see how many carries he got in the fourth quarter. That's what I would
Uh-huh.
like to see. But Debo and Jeff Wilson just looked like they were in the backfield every single down. It's good for Jeff Wilson. He's needs to get back into the groove. I think that last night was a good taste of what that is, and I don't know. I mean, Mitchell got 27 carries, so I guess I'm way off there. But it just seemed like they were uh, using a lot of different guys back there, which I guess they were.
Yeah, I mean, when you add in Debo to the mix, it's really an RBBC. But like, I think I wasn't watching Manning Cast. Sadly, I knew I wasn't gonna be able to listen to sound through most of the show because I
Yeah.
was recording the Shot to the Moon podcast. But I was watching it in the background without any sound. But I got to watch the first few minutes with sound, and I think it was no, it couldn't have been Ryan Clark. Someone was talking about how he really thought the Niners were going to run the ball 40 times, and I'm pretty sure they lived up to
Oh, they
that.
did.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
they ran
they
the ball
did.
40 times last night. So, that's
45. Yeah.
that's what you should be expecting out of this Niners team throughout the rest of the year, especially if they're going to put Debo back there too. Like that's such a dynamic running back by committee, and you're not even using Trey Sermon. Jamichael Hasty's injured right now. Like you have so
Yep.
many other guys too that you can use. It's definitely going to be a lot of fun to watch. All right, let's talk about the let's talk about Jason Garrett Tuesday. Why not? Jason Garrett Tuesday. Saquon is trending in for this week as he did practice yesterday. I don't know. Was there a lot to say about Jason Garrett Tuesday?
Not much. They're
I don't
just
even
they're
remember the
just
Giants
playing
game.
they had a bye week last week coming off a big win,
Oh,
and then now
gotcha.
they're playing they're playing the Bucks on Monday Night Football this week. And that's a Bucks team that is basically playing a practice squad secondary, and they don't have Antonio Brown. I posted a video in the NFL chat room of Antonio Brown doing rehab on his ankle. He's not coming back for a month at least. Like
Don't
he
say
can't
that.
even
Stop.
stand. He
Stop
can't
it.
even stand up right now.
Cut it out. Cut it out. We don't need that type of negative energy. For my fantasy team's sake, we don't need that type of negative energy, Jared. So cut it out. No more need for that. Antonio Brown will be back this week. Not guaranteeing, but I'm really, really praying for my life. I need to find this video that you posted. Where is this video? Do you have it offhand?
Yeah, it's in the NFL chat.
All right, let's go see NFL chat. All right, here we can watch it all together. We can all sing "Kumbaya" and watch this one together here. Um, hold on one second. Video
If you're
recaps.
doing that, you got to watch the Lions TikTok that I sent you to.
Okay, we will watch.
That one's good.
Lions is the TikToks are really hard to get up. That's the only problem I
Okay,
have
fair
with
enough.
TikToks.
Okay.
Where is this? Sorry, y'all. We're trying our best here. No, not that. There it is. All right, here we go. Doing this full screen. Here we go. Oh, dude, it's a balance thing. Maybe he just doesn't have good balance. You
No,
don't
he's
know.
trying. No,
Yes.
his ankle is still swollen. Look at his foot.
It's not that swollen. I mean, come on, man. Like it's kind of bad, but Oh shit! Look at him walking, dude.
He's still got his cryotherapy toe on him. Like if that's what he's doing, if that's what he's training, that's rough, man.
Oh, this is not a very happy camper. This is not a very happy camper because I need Antonio Brown back in my lineup. I don't know. Maybe when was this? When do we know when this
Yesterday,
was? No. Fuck. All right, so maybe no Antonio Brown this week. Maybe we'll be paying attention more to Mike Evans and all those folks. Anyway, all right, enough. Let's get back on topic and talk about this Jason Garrett Tuesday. Like you said, not much to talk about last week, but definitely. It'll be interesting to see how they can do against that secondary. That secondary that continues to be injured. You know, this could be a part or a game where Daniel Jones is really able to kind of prove himself.
Yeah, I not saying that they have a shot to win here, but I guess they do if Washington was able to win. Uh, I I don't know. The NFC East is a disaster again outside of the Cowboys. Eagles turned a corner last week, but they're 0-4 at home. Um, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see. I guess Washington's got a big game against Carolina and Cam. The Giants have a big. If there's any chance of like beating the Bucks, this would be it. On a down week, they've lost two in a row, and they don't have their weapons back. Their defense is banged up. Also, Vita Vea seems like he's out for the season. He got carted off in the last play of the game last week. Not good for the Bucks.
It'll be interesting to see because this means that like every single NFC East team has given this Bucks team trouble. Like we saw the
Yeah.
Cowboys keep it really close at the beginning of the year. We saw the Eagles keep it really close on Thursday Night Football. We saw the Washington Football Team win the game, and now we're going to see if the Giants are able to keep it close too. I don't know. I find that interesting as I was thinking through all those NFC East teams. Packers sit atop of the NFL power rankings. I'm sure you're a happy camper with the Titans, Cardinals, Cowboys, Rams following them up. What do you think about those ESPN power rankings for the NFL?
I never look at them. I never try to
Mm,
look at them. That's what I was just looking for news this morning. So,
yeah,
uh, I guess it's a cool tidbit, but does it really matter in week 11? Probably not. I will say that they have a tough matchup this week. No matter what the Vikings record is, it's still going to be a tough game. I believe Green Bay has to go into Minnesota for that one, if I'm not mistaken, which is always a really tough place to play. And then they have the Rams the week after, and then they have a bye week. So Green Bay had some really rough injury news after the Sunday game. They
mm-hmm.
lost Whitney Mercilus for the year with a bicep tear. They also lost Aaron Jones for a month, which I think is a month. Maybe people say it's a week or 2 weeks, which the reports are saying that, but I don't think that he comes back for another month plus. And then they also have to get David Bakhtiari back from the pup list. They also have to get Jair Alexander back. But yeah, I mean they're pushing through and they're trying to make things happen. But there was one more big injury. I don't remember who. Oh, Rashawn Gary. Uh, hyperextended his arm. Looked really gross. Sunday Night Football said that they weren't going to show the replay because of how gruesome it was, so they didn't. And looks like he's going to be all right though, surprisingly.
Yeah. Should be interesting to see what happens with all that injury stuff. Dude, so I'm looking through these ESPN power rankings, right? I never looked through them either. So this is the first time I looked at them all season. And bro, what a pessimist this guy is. Whoever's writing this, Nick Wagoner for the 49ers says, pardon the cliche here, but the reality for the 49ers is that the next game is the most important one on the schedule and will be for the foreseeable future. All right, first of all, maybe talk about how they just beat one of the top teams in the NFC. And two, they moved up one spot. They moved up from 22 to 21. Again, after beating one of the best teams in the AFC in dominant fashion. Like, and he's talking about how like maybe they put in Trey Lance for the Jags game. They're not going to put in Trey Lance for the Jags game. What are you talking about, man? Anyway,
Yeah,
I
I
just had to
would
get that off
say
my chest.
yeah, I would say that maybe they wrote this the day before, but this came out this morning.
This kid, no,
So
this is definitely coming. It has their record. They're 4-5. So like
yeah,
this is that's ridiculous, man. That's insane. All right, that's exactly the reason you shouldn't be looking at dumb power rankings. Anyway, let's talk about college basketball. Or is there anything else you want to talk about football wise before we jump into college basketball?
no, you're right. Let's move on because these rankings are awful. Don't if
Yeah,
you want to laugh, go look at them because
yeah,
the teams are
seriously.
really bad.
And the write up. I mean, at least that write up was absolutely the worst thing I've read today. Okay. Let's talk about the next segment, which is going to be college basketball. First, let's talk about the upset with Marquette as they were able to take down Illinois by one. Big upset for Marquette. Marquette always hangs out like as that upset dog. They always have a chance at it. What are your thoughts on the upset here?
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be one of their better wins of the year. I know that division play has not started yet, so they had a tough matchup on the board against Illinois, who Big Ten has a lot of top 15 teams in it, and it's a good win early on. I would say that there's really not much to root for any of you guys who are Wisconsin natives, whether that be the Badgers or the Marquette, uh, for the college basketball this season. But yeah, I mean, there's still something there. By the way, I got to find this because now, like, I haven't watched UW Milwaukee basketball for several years because they've just been bad. But now they actually have like not going to say number one, but like a top 10 player in college basketball in Patrick Baldwin.
Nice. Yes, Patrick Baldwin is very good. I know that for a fact. So that's definitely interesting. Yeah, only thing I will say about the Marquette win is that Daryl Morsell was a big part of it, and I know Morsell
Yeah.
transfer from Maryland. I like his game, so definitely good to see him doing some things for that Marquette team. And yeah, we'll just have to see how Marquette ends up. But they're at least 3-0 to start out the year, and might even deserve a ranking after that type of win against Illinois. Big news came out this morning, and I have a lot of buddies who are Duke fans back home, and I got a buddy who texted me this morning. It was just like, what the fuck happened here? Like, what
Yeah.
in the world is going on? Because we got the breaking news that Paulo Banchero got charged with aiding and abetting a DWI, and then Michael Severino's, who is Coach K's grandson, was arrested and charged with that DWI. So. I mean, like, I have no clue how this pans out. I mean, like, talk about a terrible last season, man. Like, it's Coach K's last season, and of course, this is going to be the headlines for the next until March, essentially, until the championship game, most likely.
Yeah, not a good look, especially because the guy that was, well, the two people involved. One was Michael Severino, who's grandson of Coach K in his final year. Also,
No,
Paulo Banchero was the guy that was in the passenger seat, aiding and abetting a DWI. By the way, I mean this happened on Saturday. Well, technically early Sunday morning, Saturday night. I don't know, maybe I'm reading this wrong, but it says that the legal limit is .08, which is basically almost everywhere in the country. But that's
yeah,
what he blew. So he's underage then, right? That's what this is all about.
I would assume. I mean,
Because like
I don't
if
know.
you blow something that's even, I mean, I guess that's still legal, right? Like
Yeah, I don't know honestly.
he's underage. He's 20. Never mind. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So that's the reason why. Yeah. Um, Man, should be interesting. Um, oh, and he's like, okay, like he's a player on the team too.
Yep.
Did not know that. He's not
Yeah.
like a
He
very
doesn't
good.
play much.
He doesn't play much. That's why I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, I guess the big story outside of the fact that they're related, that's going to be a fun Thanksgiving talk next week. Anyway, uh, do you think that Coach K is like, nah, dude, you're not coming over this week? It's
maybe,
stay home.
possibly. Yeah, just
uh,
stay home. Go somewhere else. Go to Paulo
yeah. So
Banchero's Thanksgiving dinner.
for people who don't know, Banchero is like the number one prospect for the first pick in the draft next year. So
You know,
I'm not going to say this hurts his stock. I just want to see if they'll suspend them for however long.
yeah, that's the next thing, right? Like, what's the suspension gonna look like for Paulo? What's the suspension going to look like for Savarino? And did Coach K have any information about it? Like, I feel like that's the next thing that you did. Coach K know before the authorities knew? And then you had to talk
Mm.
about maybe he gets something that he gets a little charge with helping out, or what was Paulo Banchero's aiding and abetting. That's what I was talking about. Maybe he gets something like that. So I don't know. I doubt it, but like this is definitely bad news for Duke, and you usually don't see this type of trouble around Duke, except for the Grayson Allen days. But like this, it'll definitely be interesting to see how this one pans out.
Oh, one more thing, just to put the cherry on top here. Savarino is a walk-on he was put on scholarship last summer. The last line of this article says that Savarino's mother is Krzyzewski's oldest daughter. His mom, is the assistant athletics director at Duke.
Ah, of course, the whole Duke system is just run by Coach K's family.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff there. All right, let's talk about some MLB free agency because we did get some big news from free agency. We already talked about the big news yesterday about Erod and about potentially Carlos Correa, but the next upcoming news is about Syndergaard. This is kind of incredible that he got signed by the Angels for this humongous deal, or not humongous deal. It's a 1 year deal, but
Yep.
it is $20 million deal, which is humongous. You expected the Angels to make this big splash. Everyone criticizes them about wasting Mike Trout's prime, and they said no more. Let's go side Syndergaard. Syndergaard's been so hurt that we haven't seen him in such a long time. But I mean, if you watch baseball, you know how dominant he was back in 2019, 2018, 2017. Like this guy was an animal whenever he pitched. What do you think about the signing for the Angels?
Yeah, I think that people forget sometimes that this is the other LA team, which means that they have some money.
No.
So, last year that they got just destroyed by injuries and a lot of their transactions didn't work out. Justin Upton was hurt for a very long time. Anthony Rendon missed almost the entire year. Same with Mike Trout. Otani basically carried the team. So now if they have those guys, like, look, if I were to read off the top 5, 6 players for this team, you'd say, hey, maybe they got something going here. Trout, Rendon, Upton, Noah Syndergaard, Shohei Otani. Like, it's a good group of guys, and you got some good young stars too. So I think that this team is still like they need more help, obviously. But guys like Jared Walsh definitely are a step forward. Brandon Marsh is up there too. I think that they need like one or two really solid free agency, maybe a couple more signings that really turn this thing up. But you also have to know that uh, the A's are kind of starting to dump people too. So, and the Astros are going to lose Carlos Correa most likely. So, the AL West is a little bit up for grabs.
Yeah, it definitely is up for grabs. And I mean, when you talk about prospects, like they have a solid farm system and guys that are coming up really soon. I mean, Joe Adell's already kind of came up and shown his prowess, but he's a very solid player, and I like Joe Adell. Jordan Adams, personally, like a good friend of mine, actually. I think I've told you this story. I played football with him in middle school, and
Yeah,
so a good friend of mine. He's number third in this system, and he's a really solid outfielder as well. And then you have Brandon Marsh, who kind of showed off his stuff last year too. This team's really solid overall. Like they are a really good team. They just are always hampered by injuries. So who knows? They could end up making another splash before free agency ends. And I would actually expect them to make another splash. Maybe at that shortstop position. This is kind of the prime time to fill in your shortstops right now. And maybe they can end up getting one of those big guys like Trevor Story or someone else.
there you go. I wouldn't be surprised, dude. Really wouldn't.
Yeah, I think the only other place that Story would sign is probably the Cardinals because Cardinals have Nolan, and I think they would love to be paired up again. And they need a shortstop as well. But like
That's fair.
this team is definitely hurting for a shortstop right now.
Yeah, they are. Let's see here. I want to just look at baseball futures because the one thing that this does that nobody's going to talk about is, or maybe they will, and they're just going to make fun of it. But like, dude, the Mets, what an implosion! Like, they made all those signings last year, and now they just lost one of their best arms. Like, yeah, I know he's not DeGrom, but like, he was right up there with him before he got hurt. So I don't know. I think that it's very interesting. Also, I want to see where the LA Angels are in this futures list right now. They're plus 2,200 to win the World Series. That is in the same tier as the Cardinals and the Mets and the Giants.
Interesting. I would definitely have them higher than that. I'm the Giants. That's insane that the Giants are 1,800 with still being such a good team. But I don't know. This is definitely going to be an interesting thing to see if the Angels can pan out this year. And I mean, like you had the best player in all baseball. Sometimes that's all you need to push the team. If Mike Trout can stay healthy, you know the type of numbers he can put up. He can have monstrous seasons. And him and Otani together, like them two together alone can carry an offense. It's really about getting the pitching right for this team, and they're starting to do exactly that with signing Syndergaard. So should be interesting to see how else this team plays out. Other big names for MLB free agents, or before we talk about other big names, let's talk about Barrios, who signed a big extension with the Blue Jays this morning, 7 years, $131 million. Was this the right move for the Blue Jays?
I don't know. I would have rather had them sign Robbie Ray. So
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know.
Where's the Robbie Ray
7 years is
signing?
a long time. I don't
Where,
know. I feel like not as good as that one. It's a lot of money, man. I don't know. I just don't really like Barrios is great, but is he worth 131 million? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, if they sign, here's the thing: they don't need to sign Robbie Ray. Like that's the thing that keeps like pushing me to think that they won't sign Robbie Ray because you have Hyunjin Ryu, you have Alec Manoa, you have Nate
True.
Pearson, you have other guys in your farm system that you can bring up. I mean, even if your fifth guy's like a Trent Thornton, if you want to pay someone else, is what I'm saying. Like this is. I don't know if I'd be paying Robbie Ray. And if you're not paying Robbie Ray, the real question is where the hell does the guy go? Like he should be getting
Yeah.
paid big bucks. He might win AL Cy Young. Who knows? I saw someone saying that actually Cole should be the favorite for Cy Young. I don't agree with that. I think it should be Ray, but I don't know where he'll go next.
So if you're like the Blue Jays, they don't have like a ton of money, but they still have 4 or 5 really, really young players that are on deals that they haven't extended yet, like all the young guys. So when it gets to that point, are they going to be ready, prepared to keep that core together? I mean, they just got Springer, but when you're talking about trying to you pay all of Bichette, Vlad, and Biggio and some of those other guys, like it's going to be hard to keep that team together if you have all your money tied up in pitching.
Yep, it definitely will be. So, Fansided ended up setting odds themselves. They don't have the odds available to bet on, but they have odds for where Robbie Ray is going to end up. Toronto Blue Jays plus 100. Feel like that's about right. Los Angeles Angels plus 250. Angels definitely could make a big signing here. New York Yankees plus 350. New York Mets plus 500. And then Chicago White Sox plus 750. Feel like the White Sox aren't in that conversation. The Mets would definitely be willing to make a splash since Syndergaard left. Yankees probably would definitely do it to get a number two next to Garrett Cole. And then the Angels, I think that's a great signing for the Angels. So definitely some options here if he's not going to sign with the Jays. And Jay Coos makes a great point in the chat saying that the Jays still need to sign Simeon.
Yeah, they do, and that's another big name too.
Yeah.
I forgot about him in the mix, but they have. I don't know how. Like they're not necessarily a big market team. Would say that they're middle of the road. Definitely not top 10 in terms of that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, this is where that the whole Jose Barrios thing doesn't make sense to me. Like they could have signed. Maybe it's just contract negotiation, and that's really not my up my alley. I'm not really a money type of guy, so I don't really follow that stuff too much. But that's where I would say, hey, maybe we do like you want to keep this team together. How about you take $50 million less and we'll give it to somebody else?
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk about an NBA recap really quickly. I know we have to get off the stream pretty soon, but last night was certainly an interesting night. We saw Cole Anthony end up hooping out for Sean. We saw this Washington Wizards team continue to look good, and DeMar DeRozan and the Bulls stomped my Lakers. I hate how you say this. Like, why? Like, why'd you do that to me?
Hey, I gotta give you.
There was no need for that. You don't need to humble me, man. I'm riding on cloud nine because my
Uh,
Niners win, and you put stomp in the read. Like, that's
well,
awful.
they
You're the
did.
worst. I mean, they did, yes, but like, I'm not gonna talk about a team stomping your Bucks. Whatever. Anyway, DeMar DeRozan showed up, man. Like, just like we talked about on the podcast,
Yeah,
we knew DeMar was gonna have a huge game just because of that narrative, and he showed out not only from, I mean, really just from terms of shooting. Like he was shooting the ball like a madman, and so
yep.
the Bulls team continues to prove themselves as one of the top dogs in the East. This Lakers team continues to struggles without LeBron. And we saw that crazy ejection. I didn't get to personally watch it, but all I saw was that AD was cussing out an official while he was trying to put back on his shoe.
Yeah, basically it was a breakaway dunk, and Davis was trying to trail it a little bit, landed on the ground, and his shoe fell off, so he's just putting his shoe back on. But aren't they supposed? Well, I feel like maybe they thought that there was a foul. Maybe he was just maybe he thought that the clock was going to stop. Who knows? But yeah, he lost his shoe, was putting it back on, and then like halfway through tying it, he got. I think he must have chirped and said something, and the ref wasn't having it. It was a pretty soft ejection, to be honest. Again, I don't know what was said, so that could have been enough. And at that point in the game, maybe it had just gotten to a point where it was just over. But it was kind of interesting to see that LeBron in street clothes just like comes to midcourt to talk to the refs to kind of try to keep Davis from saying anything more. So that's what happened. The video shows LeBron coming out towards half court with street clothes on. It was kind of strange, but it was very interesting. Two things with that. First, Anthony Davis in his post game comments said, "We're not winning a championship team the way we're playing. We suck." It was
Yep.
the quote. And then the other thing, DeMar DeRozan was asked on what his motivation is or has been the last couple of years, and he basically just flat out said, "People are disrespecting me and they think that I've been washed." And I mean, I think he's in the right spot now.
Yeah, I would agree that he is in the right spot. Let's take a look because luckily I have this pulled up. I want to see this Anthony Davis ejection with everyone else, and we can get this pulled up right now. Here we go. I'll even turn on sound.
They don't strap him up very tight. Oh, AD's been tossed.
What?
He's out of the game. They let him play on before AD could put the shoe on. And that's why he got it.
There's LeBron right there, just coming out in his street clothes. That is certainly interesting.
Like no other player can get away with that in street clothes.
Oh no, not at all. I want to see if we can get like a longer like replay.
Oh, AD's been tossed.
There's something on, yeah. I mean, I think like I saw a longer video of it too.
This is
That's
how
a short one,
highlights, so this should be the long one.
That's why he got upset about it.
That makes me laugh, man.
Assuming that's why. He already had one technical, so second technical, and he's early shot.
Like, dude, get off the court.
Like, what are you doing, LeBron?
Oh man.
So it's a technical foul, which means, as Stu mentioned, 2 T's gone, 20 points.
Man, that's interesting. Just doesn't allow him to put on his. I don't know, man. I would have to dig deeper into it, but that certainly will be interesting to hear from later on this week.
It's not cool because that play right there is basically the reason that we lost in cash last night.
Yeah, that definitely really sucks. And I know Sean and I had AD, and that did not work out well because of that ejection. He was having a decent game during that second half. He did not show up the first half, but definitely
No, he didn't.
Decent game during the second half, and looks like it all went to shit. All right, let's. Does LeBron get suspended? All right, let's talk about underdog mentality, and we can kind of talk about today's slate. It's a very small Tuesday slate, but there's an exciting game with the Nets and Warriors. You have the Spurs and Clippers, which should be a good one. Kawhi, I guess he doesn't get to really see his old team, but would have got to see his old team if he was playing. And then 76ers and Jazz should be interesting with Gobert and Embiid. Like I like this slate. It feels like a Thursday slate almost, where it should be a TNT doubleheader. But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, you know why? I mean, we gotta make sure that we talk to Sean about this, and this is probably my job because I'm on Thursdays. But if you get the opportunity today, they specifically TNT took the Thursday broadcast and they moved it to Tuesday. Don't know why, but they did it, so it doesn't compete with Thursday Night Football anymore. Not that that was a thing, but there was some reason why they did it, but they moved it from Thursday to Tuesday. So now you guys get TNT on Tuesday with that group. So
Sweet.
I don't know. For me, the only one that makes sense for an underdog mentality play, and it's the best play, honestly, on the card at this moment through these 3 games, is Warriors outright at plus 130.
Yep, I can buy into it. I don't think anything else makes sense, like you said. But Warriors plus 130, I can definitely get behind. And that should be a lot of fun with KD playing against Draymond and Curry. And it should be a very good game for sure. All right, let's get out of here, Jared. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, final thoughts is very simple. I have waited until now to give that $50 cash out because of the Niners upset last night. I appreciate all you guys hanging out for today's stream. We're going to do this more often. Maybe I won't lose all of my money betting against the underdog for the remainder of the year, but we'll see. Mills 9042, you are the winner of the $50 straight cash. So just DM me on Discord and we'll take care of that for you today.
Very nice. All right, let's get out of here. As always, my name is Joshua Reimer. Good morning and good skill.